This podcast is supported by MIDI Health. Are you in midlife, feeling dismissed, unheard, or just plain tired of the old healthcare system? You're not alone. For too long, women's serious midlife health issues have been trivialized, ignored, and met with a just deal with it attitude. Many of us have been made to feel ashamed or forgotten. In fact, even today, 75% of women seeking care for menopause and perimenopause issues are left entirely untreated. But here's the powerful truth. It's time for a change. It's time for MIDI. MIDI is not just a healthcare provider. It's a women's telehealth clinic, founded and supported by world-class leaders in women's health. What sets MIDI apart? We are the only women's telehealth brand covered by major insurance companies, making high-quality expert care accessible and affordable. Our clinicians provide one-on-one, face-to-face consultations where they truly listen to your unique needs. We offer a full range of holistic, data-driven solutions, from hormonal therapies and weight loss protocols to lifestyle coaching and preventative health guidance. This isn't one-size-fits-all care. This is care uniquely tailored for you. At MIDI, you will join our patients who feel seen, heard, and prioritized. You will find that our mission is clear: to help all women thrive in midlife, giving them access to the health care they deserve. Because we believe midlife isn't the middle at all. It is the beginning of your second act. Ready to feel your best and write your second act script? Visit joinmidi.com today to book your personalized insurance-covered virtual visit. That's joinmidi.com. MIDI, the care women deserve.
You know what's wild? Most people are still overpaying for car insurance just because it's a pain to switch. That's why there's Jerry. Jerry's the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, do yourself a favor. Download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/Libsyn. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.
Live from the back of Ruth the Realtor's car, it's the Stacking Deed Show. I'm Ruth the Realtor's part-time mechanic neighbor Doug, broadcasting live from the spacious recording studio in the trunk of her 88 Lincoln Town Car. On today's show, wondering whether it's time to make a career change to real estate? Today's guest was a 7th grade English teacher and transitioned into real estate, going from $50K to $500K, all by the age of 28. We'll hear more about Brooke Coughlin's story in just a moment. In our headlines, can technology help you fix up your rental? We'll talk about how you can use the power of your devices to save tons of money. And of course, I'll pop in later with my property pop quiz. And now, two peeps who are the Starsky and Hutch of real estate news. It's Crystal Hammond and Joe Saul. Say hi.
Starsky and Hutch. So am I Hutch because I'm Hammond? Who's Starsky?
I don't know. I'm barely old enough to know that reference, and I'm the old guy on the show, I think.
Right.
Crystal, you're whichever one is smarter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you. Thank you.
Wait a minute.
None of us know. That's even funnier.
Yeah. When did that show air?
Yeah, in the
No
40s,
idea.
I think.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Obscure References for the Win podcast. I'm Joe. She's Crystal. Crystal, are you upset you have to work a full week this week after last week's holiday week?
Yes. Yes. It's sad. But the good news is I'm on a work trip. So I'm in beautiful Houston, heated Houston, Texas. Heated.
It is.
It is.
Beautifully
Free heating
heated.
included in your rent.
I tell you what we're going to do.
Words.
And we'll even throw in 100% humidity for nothing. There's times, Crystal, I
Man.
love being in Houston. This is not one of them. I think
No.
somebody won the government contract by
Nope, right. It was,
offering up the month of July in Houston.
and we fell for it.
What
Yes.
could go wrong? Well, you're only 5 hours south of us in Texarkana, so come on up while you're here.
Cool. Sure.
Come on.
Find myself dozing off.
Hey, we're right here.
Yeah.
We got a great show. How would you like to go, Crystal, from $50,000 to $500,000?
Beautiful. Sign me up expeditiously.
Yes. It sounds like a great time. And this woman, though, she works hard for the money. So hard for it, honey.
That was one of my favorite songs. Yeah, I used to love that music video too.
We're doing all the old references today.
We are.
I just
That's
flexed
my
on a Donna
favorite.
Summer. Yeah.
You really did, man.
Brooke Coughlin's going to join us. She went from being, as Doug, you so eloquently said, a school teacher into real estate.
I love teachers. I donate to my friends that are teachers when they post their class lists. I always donate to the lists because they're the future. You know, they're raising the future. Not to go off topic as usual.
I don't think, though, Crystal, that is off topic, because I actually think, and we'll hear later, we'll find out, but I think half the reason Brooke's good at this is I think good real estate professionals have to have the heart of a teacher. You've got to teach your client what they're looking for. You got to teach them what's bad. You got to teach them how to, if you teach them well enough, you really show them how good you are at your job, which brings on more referrals.
That too, and you're teaching them to do what's best for them. Because even as students, you know, as children, or you know, whatever grade she teaches, you are really like saying, "Hey, this is what's best for you. This is what you should do." And realtors, they're good realtors. Now, this is good realtors. They're steering you in the right direction of what's best for you.
It's funny because people say, I don't want to go into real estate. I'm not a salesperson. And yet I think the best salespeople are just teachers. They don't sell at all. They just teach. Good stuff there. We got a great headline. So why don't we get this party started, guys?
Hello, chaps. And now our Stacking Deeds headlines. Cheerio and pip pip.
Ooh, another song reference. Let's get it started. Bringing us up to the 2000s or 90s? I don't know when
That's
that came
right.
out.
It is bad when we're still on old music, but we just went forward 2 decades from the last references we had. Yeah, that's not good. Today's piece comes to us from the Wall Street Journal. It is written by, let's see who it's written by. Drum roll, TP Chen wrote this. And TPing wrote, broken toilet? There's a plumber on FaceTime for that. TPing says, every now and then, Allison Sailing will be helping a client install a ceiling fan when she finds herself falling to the ground. That would be a hazard for most electricians, but not Sailing, who shows up to work via video calls. When homeowners knock their phone off a ladder, Sailing, listen to this, in Texarkana, Texas.
Big words. I
Get
still
out.
think it's a fake town. That is funny that it made it to the Wall Street Journal.
That's a flex right there. All the smart people in Texarkana. She
Did
just
you guys
waits for them to-
celebrate in the town hall that you made it to the Wall Street Journal?
Hey, we know we made it to the Wall Street Journal. I was telling you guys before we hit record, as we were getting into the car with Ruth here, that, you know what? We are actually the home of 2, not 1, but 2 Olympians.
Us too. Alexandria too.
Olympian alternates.
One is an alternate in gymnastics, for God's
What
sake.
a
You know how hard?
flex.
I've never seen you do a somersault.
Oh, I do them all the time. Not on purpose, but I do them.
I've never even seen you do mental gymnastics, let alone physical
Oh.
gymnastics. Anyway, when homeowners knock their
Sorry.
phone off a ladder, Sailing in Texarkana, Texas, just waits for him to pick it up so she can walk them through what to do next. It's like, whoops, you dropped me. The cost of home repair service visits has risen in recent years, just as more Americans have grown accustomed to video calls. So enter virtual plumbers and electricians, a small but growing crop of tradespeople offering their services to those interested in DIY fixes at cheaper rates. It's a new take on the old craft, one with perks, including less physical strain, as well as some of the same Zoom hiccups familiar to any white collar worker. Crystal, this is actually a great idea for our deeders because, you know, we've had Harley Green was telling everyone last week that, you know, initially fixing the toilet yourself is a great idea. So you know what you're getting into. However, if you don't know anything, going to
Right.
YouTube University or hiring somebody on a Zoom call to show you how it works, and you get to put the wrench in the right place or put the nail in the right spot. Like, that's invaluable experience for later at a probably cheap to zero cost.
Yeah, that's the whole point of having a coach. The difference between like the YouTube University and having like a person virtual is the whole feedback. They can tell you, move the camera to the left, move the camera to the right, like turn on. You need a second flashlight so I can really see and get in there. And this is cool because I didn't realize I was on a ride along the other day with a friend that was going to one of their properties, and they were on the phone with a contractor, and the contractor, he was like, well, let's just hang up and do a FaceTime so you can show me what you're trying to tell
Excellent.
me. And whoosh, mind blown. I always get that mind blown sound effect wrong. But that is a really good point, that having somebody on FaceTime for that like real time feedback, because you don't want to, what if this contractor is at another property? You don't want to interrupt, the progress of, hey, stop what you're doing to come to this other project to see how we can fix this other problem. And we were knocking out like 10 birds with one stone by having him on FaceTime. He's like, oh, and we had a ruler too. So we actually, with him on the phone, we measured the piece that he needed. And he's like, go to Home Depot, get, these items, and then just leave them in the property. And then when I'm done here, then I'll go straight there. I'm pretty sure it saved a whole day. And then think about this. You're paying another day of interest. If this holds up another project, you would have a horrible tenant upset at you because they want their problem fixed now. So that way you're able to kill lots of birds with a stone, because virtually you were able to get that instant gratification.
Think about how much money people pay for college, and real estate is this thing where you can get your education. Maybe you're paying a little bit, but it's actually the renter who's paying for your education.
True.
In that case, which is pretty powerful. Listen to this one. Allison Sailing says, this is to your point, Crystal. Customers occasionally dial in with complex tasks. Sailing once helped someone install a service panel for a jacuzzi over 9 calls, including a run to Lowe's, exactly what you're talking about, where she helped him pick out parts. Literally, she was on a FaceTime call and the guy's showing her the parts and she's telling him, no, not that one, the one next to it. Like, choose this. How great is it to go into Lowe's with a professional and know what it is? By the way, she's part of a company. We should list this. It is called Front Door, and they do. Maybe we need to get somebody from Front Door on the show.
That would be great.
They charge a $25 flat annual fee for virtual visits, $25 a year.
Oh, that's amazing.
To help you with virtual visits. There's another one, videochattapro.com. This is very simple. This guy, Shane Stewart, is a virtual appliance repairman, recently helped a woman get her washing machine door open after she couldn't find the release knob.
Aww.
Doug's had that problem before.
Or sometimes you find the release knob a little too fast.
Then you're apologizing to the washing machine, apologizing to the dryer.
They need the Geek Squad for most of our parents, because trying to explain to my mom to click on this button to open or close or to log in to something. Like, if I could just see your screen, and they're like, what do I do? And I'm like, I can't see your screen. I don't know.
I got no idea.
Well, I think there's a side business here that I'm considering, which is a head mount for your iPhone or for your phone. Because the problem is, if I'm doing plumbing, I want 2 hands for that. And I got to hold my phone with one hand. I'm joking, of course. This is incredible. I mean, now I'm seriously going to consider
a GoPro,
or a GoPro or something, so that you can have 2 hands while your phone is looking at the work that you need to do. But I love this idea, and I'm glad we found this article and are cluing people into it, because I think this is going to grow. I feel like this is
totally going to grow.
It is
growing solution, because at first I thought $3 a minute, man, that meter's going to click off fast. But then you think about a plumber showing up at your house, an electrician showing up at your house. It's $100 to have them pull in your driveway. At least. I'm sure there's places where it's $250, and then the clock starts running once they're in your house, and parts and all of that. And there's probably a little bit of a markup on parts. And so I love this idea. If you are on the phone with them for an hour, that's $180. That's cheap. You got off cheap if you have a solved problem at the end of it.
Yeah, this guy Stewart charging the $3 a minute. He used to charge just a flat $100. If he shows up, it's $100, and then it goes up from $100 after that.
Oh, that's not bad.
There's one guy in this article I would not trust, though. Jason Bauder of Twin Lake, Michigan, launched videochatpro.com in 2022. Here's my issue with Jason. I've never met the man. I'm sure he's very skilled at what he does, but he comes from a suspicious place of Twin Lake, Michigan. There are 5 lakes in Twin Lake, Michigan. So, I mean, they're lying.
Jason can't count.
Right from the beginning.
Aw. But even going back to your other point, Doug, about when the plumber shows up to your house and you already paying for that call, you're also limited by the supply of tools or gizmos or gadgets that he has in his truck. Because then what if your pipe is out of date, that size, so he has to make a run to Home Depot, or
We had
there's
that just
something
last
else.
week.
Yeah, see, that prolongs the fix. That's prolonging a leak. That's prolonging time. That's just the big back and forth. And there you go.
You're forgetting about another major time saver, because if you're figuring this out on your own, it's 4 trips to Home Depot.
Yeah, that is.
You can't do any of these jobs with 1 trip because you got the wrong size or the wrong brand or whatever. So if any of these online professionals, FaceTime professionals, can say, go buy this exact thing, or they're in the store with you, that's massive savings.
Oh my gosh, yes. Because then that's doubling your trip too, because you got to stand in the return line. I've actually have one pipe thing that I've bought that was wrong that I still haven't returned. I think it's had like 3 birthdays here too, because I'm like, yeah, I need to go return that. But I mean, I'm not going to Home Depot if I don't need to.
We talk about getting experience on this stuff and how valuable it is, but they talk about how these pros sometimes can share tips as small as make sure the electricity's off before you start working, which is
another big one.
That's a little over safety cautious, I feel like.
Don't listen to neighbor Doug. Do not listen to that guy.
I mean, that can be great. They also talk about the difference between this and just a YouTube video. Right. And I know our friend Carl Jensen, Carl has learned at YouTube University. He talks about a lot of the houses that he and Mindy have fixed up that he didn't know how to do anything, and he just went to YouTube and learned it. The difference between this and YouTube is they can watch your exact problem, answer your exact question, and to our points earlier, help you pick out the exact stuff. Plus, they even say that they can also be a cheerleader for you, which when people are really nervous and they're just starting out, like telling you, no, that's the right thing. Go ahead and twist that wrench. You're doing the right thing. I mean, how many times have I've done that several times where I'm like, do I really want to do this? If I unplug this, what's going to happen? And if I got somebody who's done it 500 times going, nope, that's the one.
I feel like there's probably also a market niche out there for angry dad video electrician who's like, I've told you this 3 times. I taught you this when you were 13. Remember we worked on that one project? I mean, it'll just make you feel warm and fuzzy inside.
You pay for that. Yeah. Like your childhood's back.
Right. Exactly. Like when you were changing a tire with your dad. And,
tech worker Clay Herbs, who's used videochatapro.com, said the idea of connecting with an electrician via video initially felt strange, but when he had questions about his home's wiring that didn't seem to warrant an expensive in-person visit, he figured it's worth a try. My attitude was, worst case scenario, I'd lose like $10, which is, Doug, to your point, that's exactly the point. Hey, so, okay, this is a $10 insurance policy. Herbs lives in Northwest Montana and has done DIY home maintenance. The electrician, he said, was able to look at his outlet configuration and provide the information he wanted quickly. Good stuff here.
It is. And this also opens up a different community of people. Like, you can still make money as a plumber or an electrician if you were out playing pickleball. This happened to me, and you had a swollen knee the next day, and you need to rest your knee. Now you can do video calls for a week till your knee is better. Or for disabled people that know the business but somehow got injured or just can't get around like they used to, this opens up a totally different career path for them that, they're not out the game. They can focus on just doing video calls.
Yeah, think about the huge knowledge base.
Yeah.
One of those guys, Brian Jackson, specialized in HVAC repair. He was at his son's kindergarten graduation and was milling around with other parents when somebody needed help with the thermostat. He knew it was going to be pretty quick. So it says, still wearing festive lays and holding his son's awards, he helped the customer change the batteries in the thermostat.
Change the battery.
One challenge, by the way, Jackson says, is that right now, because it's just a budding industry, it's a new industry, that it attracts people who already consider themselves handy and have just one technical question, or the contractors themselves, right? So it tends to get either pros or semi-pros. Some of them get defensive or they resist instruction. I'm like, you called me. I didn't call you,
Right.
he says. He recalls one customer refused to believe an air conditioning unit's compressor was faulty. Let's check your ego or we can end this call, he had to tell the guy after a few minutes of arguing.
Ooh, I like
there,
it.
Now we're getting into the salty
Spicy.
dad vibe.
The drama.
I like it.
Is there a dating example?
Why do you call
Right,
Crystal
with that
somebody for help and
attitude.
then start arguing? But then again, I think about that. I think about the early days of computers. This is a little bit of an old guy story, but I remember they had the 386 computer. Doug remembers these.
Mm-mm.
The
When you made
386
that jump
computer.
from a 286 to a 386, you were rocking.
But then there was the 386S, which had the dumbest thing of all. It had a turbo button.
boost, yes.
But you had to have the turbo button on all the time or the computer just would not function. So my computer was running really slow. And I call there used to be companies for all of the people that aren't ancient. There used to be these companies that would build your computer for you. So I call up the company that built my computer. Nice woman on the other end. She goes, so just a few things. Is it plugged in? I'm like, oh my God, what kind of a moron do you think? Of course it's plugged in. She goes, I just got to take this piece by piece, sir. And I'm like, I'm not a moron. I know to plug my computer in. Of course, I said it's running slow. It's not running at all. None of the lights are coming on. And there's this mysterious prong thing I don't know what to do with. None of that. And then she said, is the turbo button pressed? And I went, again, I'm not a moron. Of course I have the turbo button pressed. And Crystal, as I'm saying it, I'm looking down at the unit and the turbo button is not pressed as I am just bitching at her.
Oops.
I am totally
Whoopsies.
just bitching. And then I said, and it was back in the day when, you had the landline.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, can you hold on a second? Because I have a call on the other line. And I hung up on her.
On her. Poor thing. I hope she's still not on hold.
Right, she's still back from 1993.
Yeah.
She's still waiting. I think that guy's
Still
coming.
waiting. Oh man, he'll be right back.
Your bill is huge by now.
It's been 30 years. Yeah.
Wow.
This company went bankrupt 22 years ago, but we can get it back. We can bring it out of bankruptcy. Let's link to this piece. Unfortunately, it's behind the Wall Street Journal paywall, but if you get the Wall Street Journal, you definitely want to read this piece. And Crystal, I'm sure you'll include it in the show notes.
Yes, I will. Please head to stackingdeeds.net/show notes so that you can read and read. There you go.
So you can read.
read, and read.
And you can read. Yeah. The three
I think
R's.
The way you wanted to finish that sentence, Crystal, was and stuff. You can read and
yes,
stuff.
And stuff.
Yes. Coming up next, Brooke Coughlin, you're going to hear as a force of nature. She is a 28-year-old who began her career thinking she was going to be an English teacher in middle school. Unfortunately for the students, fortunately for her, she decided to flip into real estate. We'll hear why and how she did that. And now she not only owns a bunch of properties, she also owns a cleaning company that works out well with her Airbnbs. She does deals with partners often, and she sells real estate, earning over $500,000 a year. How did that happen? Brooke is next. We're going to pick her up. But Doug, before we get there, time for the property pop quiz.
Hey there, daters. I'm Ruth's wrench-wielding carburetor captain, neighbor Doug, and today we're celebrating the anniversary of a breakthrough in real estate. It was on this day, these many years ago, that micro rentals first hit the market. No, I'm not talking about the Oyo Motel over on State Line Road. I'm talking about something even smaller and that lets you rent by the minute. Well, I guess you can do that over on State Line Road, too. I mean, think about it. What can you rent that's about the size of a single bed and never gets cleaned?
A hotel.
And we're back to the Oyo Motel. Pull it together, Doug. Okay, how about this? You can rent this service right from your car. Damn it!
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you, it's a parking space. All right, I was trying to dodge around it.
Got it.
It was on this date in 1935 that the first parking meter was installed for public use. Today's property pop quiz is, what city installed the first public parking meter? I'll be back right after I get my mind out of the gutter. It's hard. There I go again.
You know, Crystal, we're talking with this brilliant team today about benefits, but one benefit that people can give themselves is better property management. And we've mentioned a ton of property management softwares that are out there, but let's give people 3 reasons why the one we're about to mention is different. First, software alone doesn't really solve your problem.
And that's why Hemlane's property management provides 24/7 repair coordination. That's right. You can either use your own service professionals or you can tap into their licensed network. Notice I said licensed network.
Right. No, that's a good point. And we talked earlier in the show about it. Don't ask how, ask who. And Hemlane definitely knows who the who's are. Second, many of you are investing out of state. So Hemlane connects you with licensed leasing agents and other tenant placement services to help you find and place a tenant.
And then third, Hemlane is ranked #1 by Gartner with 4.8 star reviews.
Wow.
So they're legit. Yeah, I know when I'm looking for food, if it's 4.5 and under, I'm not touching the restaurant.
Yeah. When you see the sign that says discount sushi, you're like, no, probably not. Not 2 words that go together. Manage your rental properties with 100% transparency and control without the administrative work through Hemlane. They offer everything from advertising your rental to over 30 rental websites to automatic rent collection and late fees. Best of all, you can tap into their network for a more hands-off and remote experience. Hemlane will increase your satisfaction and your cash flow with your rental properties.
So visit www.hemlane.com and don't forget to mention to tell Hemlane that you heard about them through Stacking Deeds. Hemlane will dramatically improve your property management.
We talk about Hemlane because of the fact that we believe in them very much, to the point that we have an affiliate deal with them. So if you'd like to help the show and help yourself, make sure when you go to hemlane.com, you tell them what Crystal you just said.
Yep.
Please tell them Stacking Deeds
sent you.
We should have coordinated that.
Hey there, Deeters. I'm clergy school dropout and masculine meter maid, Ruth's mechanic neighbor Doug. July 16th, 1935 marks the date of a key innovation in the real estate industry, for it was on this date that a device was invented that let you rent out small spaces by the minute without the need for that greasy desk clerk sitting behind bulletproof glass. Today's property pop quiz was, what city installed the first parking meters? Surprisingly, it was Oklahoma City that holds this honor. Even though there were probably still prairie schooners rolling down Main Street back then, Oklahoma decided it needed a way to charge its citizens even more for land their taxes were already paying for. Genius! Were there lawsuits? Of course there were lawsuits. Were people madder than a John getting his wallet stolen after an interlude at the Oyo Motel? Hell yes! But courts ruled that as long as the meters were being used to control busy streets and not just a revenue grab by old Boss Hogg, it was okay. Tune in next week when I explain how a stay at the Oyo Motel over on State Line Road led directly to the invention of modern antibiotics. And now, let's get ready for some free knowledge from Brooke Coughlin.
All right, before we go to Brooke, just a question about that. I mean, my initial guess was Boston, because I'm like, what's a place?
Right.
Yeah.
Where, it's
Philly.
tight quarters. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. The roads were there. They're the old...
they love taxes there.
They're the old cart paths. But Oklahoma, don't you think there's enough room for everybody?
I know, right? So it was
true.
two engineering professors, I think, at Oklahoma State University that they came up with the first parking meter that didn't need electricity. There was a guy who made one before them, but it needed electricity. And so his design was you had to plug it into your car to get electricity from the battery in
and drain your battery.
Whatever, right? Then drain your battery.
And get charged for it.
Right, and then get charged for it. I'm going to give you my electricity and I'm going to pay for the parking spot. People were like, oh, hell no. So these two guys in Oklahoma State University, they patented one that didn't require any electricity, and so they took off.
It's still, though, the huge amount of land in Oklahoma.
Right.
I would have been thinking, what we need to do? We need to charge people for this little piece of land when there's miles and miles and miles and miles of land.
People were ticked off. They were hot about it.
That's crazy. Well, we're not ticked off, as Doug says, about our guest, Brooke Coughlin, coming up next. Brooke, I'm so happy you're here with us.
Good morning, guys. I'm so happy to be
Welcome.
here. Happy 4th of July.
I know. For people that don't realize, we just went back in time. We are celebrating 4th of July with Brooke, who makes sure, by the way, this Brooke is the sign I think of a busy person, because everybody I talked to about us doing this interview was like, it's a holiday. I'm like, but there's
The
no
4th?
fireworks. But Brooke, I think, might be, Crystal, the busiest person we know. So finding
Oh,
time, I
definitely.
bet, to do this, Brooke, is a lot of fun.
Yes, I'm honored to be here. Always make the time. Yes.
Well, let's get our own fireworks going, because I'm pretty excited to talk about your story. You were a junior high English teacher.
Yeah, I taught 7th grade English for 4 years.
I was an English major. Did you know anybody in real estate? Like, how do you go from being a teacher teaching English into the real estate field? Like, how do you make that swap?
Oh my, it's a crazy story. So I went to school to be a teacher. I came from a family of educators. My dad was a principal, mom was a teacher. I was like, I'm going to follow in their footsteps, do the same thing, be out of school at, 3:30, have my summers off, whole 9 yards.
Living
Of
the
course, I
dream.
love kids too. Yeah, living the dream. I do love kids, whole 9 yards. But when I was in college, actually, I started a cleaning company, which this is going to be relevant to how I got into real estate. But I started a cleaning company, and I was just a one-woman show, I guess. Starting this company to make a little bit of wine money, going out money on the weekends in college. And I would go to people's houses, clean them. I played college basketball at the time, and all my teammates would laugh at me and say, Brooke, like, you're cleaning toilets and kitchens. Like, you're 19, 20 years old, 21 years old.
Right.
21 years
Wow.
What are you doing? And I was like, there's something about making money on my own time that I love. And then when it came time to graduate college, I was going to become a teacher. I was like, I can't give up this little cleaning business that I started, being the one woman show, to go be a teacher and make 50 grand. So, what's the most logical next step? It's to make it a business and to start hiring employees. Well, that never goes as planned. It was a mess, but today we still have it about 10 years later. But that's how I got into real estate, because I was going to somebody's house to give a cleaning quote. And little did I know that they owned a brokerage. So I was taking them around the house, showing them what we do, whole 9 yards. And the woman looked at me and said, Brooke, do you have any interest in real estate? And I'm like, at this time, I'm a 7th grade teacher. I have a very big cleaning company. I do not believe Airbnb management started yet. I didn't own any rentals. So I was literally just a teacher in my cleaning company. And I was like, yeah, I love real estate on HGTV.
Yeah.
I love realtor.com and Zillow and getting a coffee in the morning and driving around looking at houses, but that's about it. And she's like, you'd be amazing at it. Take the course, pass the test, join my team. I'm like, sure, I'll add it to my resume. Why not? And then ever since then, I've just fallen head over heels in love with real estate.
So wait a minute. So were you then, for a while then, you were a teacher and a real estate agent, and you own the cleaning company all at the same time?
All at the same time. And it wasn't until I realized that I was doing maybe more real estate when I was supposed to be teaching 7th graders. And I felt bad for the kids. Not that I wasn't giving it my 100%, but I felt bad for the kids. But I also started to feel bad for my clients who, were purchasing their biggest asset or selling their biggest asset. And I wasn't 24/7 from 7:30 to 2.
That still is a tough move though, Brooke, I'm sure you remember. I mean, just going from the security of a job, you have a pension at the end if you keep being a teacher, I bet. You've got all these benefits to
Holidays.
I don't have any of this. Yeah. Did you make sure you had an emergency fund first? Like, how did you go, you know what, I'm cutting the cord and I'm going to stop teaching?
That's a great question. I mean, my cleaning company, even at that time, was very profitable. So I did have that chunk.
Oh, good.
I did wait until I had a decent amount of deals in the pipeline that I knew were going to be closing that could cover me. But I remember just sitting there being like, at the time, my teaching salary, I love this story, was $1,400 every 2 weeks. And I was living in a condo, driving my car. It was paying my mortgage. It was paying my car. It was paying for my groceries, my gas, whole 9 yards, the 1,400 every 2 weeks. And I was so scared to leave that consistency. But now I close deals that make more than my entire teaching salary in a year with one deal.
Wow.
But if I never made that jump, I would have stayed on the trajectory, which the world needs great teachers and all the power to them. But I would have stayed on that trajectory of, being paid every 2 weeks, just going up in scale each year versus being in charge of my own destiny. So yes, it was scary, but it was the best decision of my entire life.
Well, is that the lesson for our Dieters, though? That at some point you just got to do it. You just got to make that leap?
Yeah, you just got to do it. But I would say do it with a plan. I didn't just jump into it and cross my fingers and say, oh, I hope I'm going to make it.
Right.
I was lined up and had income coming in elsewhere.
Yeah, that was my next question. Just about mentors and, other people to show you the ropes and make you comfortable with making that leap and making that jump. Like, who did you have around you that you leaned on for advice?
So it's actually, he's my current boss now, but he wasn't at the time. And he dates my sister. They're not married, but they just had a baby. And I played basketball growing up competitively. And my dad started this basketball business. It was AAU, if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah.
Travel basketball. All parents think their kids are going to go into the WNBA.
Of course,
let's
duh.
pay money. Yes. So my dad started this small little program just for myself and my brother as we were growing up. And we both went to college. He's like, I have no interest in doing this anymore. So this guy from my town at the time was not dating my sister, was just a random Joe Schmo, bought the business off of my father, took it off his hands, cheap. It's probably like $75,000, took over the teams. He then took that business and he blew it up across the country. It was called Swarm Basketball, if anybody's ever heard of that. And he ran it for years. He was 2 years older than me. We went to college together. He would never pay attention in any college classes that we had because he was running a very lucrative business on the side, just, trying to get his degree, whole 9 yards. And then ran into my sister. Their love story started, whole 9 yards. Years went by and an ESPN company wanted to purchase Swarm. And he's like, it's not for sale. I have no intentions of selling, whole 9 yards. He was actually in California. I love this story. He was in California at the time, and they wanted him to come to Boston the next day to talk about selling. He had zero interest whatsoever. They booked him a red eye. He's like, okay, they're serious.
Yeah.
He met with them.
Yeah, ASAP.
And he met with them the next day, and the guy said, write down what you would sell it for. So his name is Mike. Mike being like, I'm not selling this, wrote down an astronomical number, and they said, you have a deal. Well, no one knows the amount. I ask him all the time. He's none of your business, Brooke. But then he took all of those funds, and he's like, what am I going to do with this? I'm going to start buying real estate. And this was all in the time that I was going for my license, which it took me a long time to pass the test, which I'm not afraid to say. But in that time, he's like, Brooke, I can't wait anymore. Like, you're taking too long. Pass me off to somebody who you'll be working with. So I passed him off to somebody else in my brokerage who I would be working with once I got licensed, thinking that, when I do get licensed, I'm going to become his agent. Well, that was not the case. However, he then took all of that money. He bought hundreds and hundreds of apartment buildings. And then
Hundreds
he has
apartment
hundreds of apartments. Buildings, not just doors. Buildings.
Buildings, not just
doors. He just turned 30, whole 9 yards. But at the end of that year, when I did get licensed, he sat down with me and the agent I referred him to, who is now my broker, and said, you know what? I paid X amount of money to Real Living Realty, which was the company I was working for, which was X amount of commissions. How about the three of us just start our own company? And when Mike Burns says jump, I say how high, just due to his track record.
Heck yeah.
Being 30 years old, 2 years older than me, and an incredible business human being. But I was surrounded by that. I had that in my background of watching somebody who was, Joe Schmo from my town, a little just regular average human being, to owning multi-million dollar companies. And I'm like, you know what? If Mike Burns can do it, Brooke Coughlin can do it
I
too.
can do it.
Yeah.
That's so inspirational, just knowing that you can do it. I mean, before Crystal, I started stacking Benjamins. Like, I didn't talk to any people like Brooke, and I was afraid of everything. And I remember when we sold our house, we sold our possessions. Cheryl was like, "Are you crazy? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, this is nothing. Everybody I know does this stuff.
Correct.
Everybody I know becomes a nomad. Like, why wouldn't we do it too?" I think that having that proximity is so important. When you started off in real estate, I mean, clearly when you made the jump from being a teacher to going full-time in real estate, well, not completely full-time because you still had your cleaning business. What were the keys that you were successful? I mean, obviously you're selling some houses, you're selling some properties, but what skills did you have that really propelled you to that success? What were the early signs that you were going to be good at this?
I will tell you that I have a very addictive personality, and I know where to use my addictive personality. And I'm the most competitive person I know, back from college basketball days to today, what I'm doing. So, whatever I do and I set my mind to, I tell myself I'm going to become the best person in that field, whatever that field is. And that's kind of what happened with real estate. I jumped in 2 feet all in and said, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
going to become the absolute best. Am I? Probably not. But in my own head and my client's head and my persona that I give off, I'm going to become the best real estate agent there absolutely is. And nothing can stop me. So I do think it's a mindset that I believe it. So that I radiate it out to everybody else in my network, my clients, whole nine yards. And you know what? They believe it too, which just propels me to the next level.
Do you think that being a teacher, though, too, like having the heart of a teacher helps? Because I certainly do. I mean, I think that teaching people what they really want in a property is half of the game to sales, I think.
Yes, I think so too. And every time I sit down for a listing appointment and I go through the why me, because there are a million different realtors out there, I understand that. It's that I break down everything step by step. I say I used to teach seventh graders English, but today I'm going to teach you how to buy or sell a house. And people love the hand holding. No matter where you are in your real estate journey, just starting out or a multi-million dollar investor, they love the hand holding. They love to be told what's going to happen before it happens. And I think my past of being a teacher really helps with that.
Yeah.
And teaching, no student is the same. No client is going to be the same either.
Yeah, that's true.
How did you then go from, because some people that are around you, you see these people all the time. They're real estate professionals. They're selling everybody else's properties, but they don't ever buy their own property. So how did you then go from that into your own investing empire?
Right. I mean, I think a lot of this still goes back to Mike Burns, the owner of my company, and watching him buy and setting himself and his family up for generational wealth to come. I watched it first and I watched other people, build their steps with owning real estate. And I'm like, I'm crazy not to do this. I'm crazy not to start buying. So my husband and I, we started slow. Could we still even go faster? Yes, but we own 7 properties now, 14 doors. Some are 2 families, 3 families. We own Airbnbs, our primary whole 9 yards. But just the fact of purchasing something and watching it grow throughout the years is incredible. I remember our first property, if anybody's familiar with Massachusetts, there's a small town called Springfield. It's like a city. It's not the best city, a whole 9 yards. And it was our first investment property. We already had a condo at the time. And I was so scared. It was $212,000 3 years ago. I was like, oh my God, tenants, like all you hear are these nightmare stories, whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? We're going to do it. Mike Burns does it. I'm going to do it. I'm telling everybody else to do it. So I should probably understand it myself as being a landlord. So we bought the property. Fast forward to 3.5 years now. Both tenants are still in there from when we first purchased
Nice.
it.
Wow.
And we bought it for $212, and today I could sell it for $350.
Wow.
That's not bad.
Oh, beautiful.
And
Yeah,
then,
that's great. So do you
and
have,
then I could
yeah,
take
go
all
ahead.
of that equity. I mean, this is just one property example, and then go buy
Mhm.
more. But there's something in my brain, in my head, that I like knowing that I do have that cushion.
The safety. Yeah.
The safety. So my strategy is I don't pull equity from my properties that I currently have. I just save from all of the other income coming in to go buy more. So I do have cushions in every single property that we own.
Oh, that's smart. I haven't heard of many people doing that. They are quick to tap into that equity instead of just waiting and saving. That's safe too. That's your safety net. So I wanted to ask, what kind of automations do you have in place that help everything run smoothly?
You would laugh. So Cody is my Airbnb partner, but he also is assisting with
Oh,
my
cool.
book and my course and everything that's coming out. And him and his team asked me the same question. And I'm like, guys, you're going to laugh, but I don't have a lot of automations in place.
And
I'm
by the way,
just
for our
starting.
Dieters out there, Brooke's talking about our friend Cody Berman, our mutual friend, who is just an amazing member of the community, has a great podcast of his own. But anyway,
Yes.
just wanted to explain who Cody was. Yeah.
Oh my God. And Cody and I go back to like middle school days. We played basketball together at camps in the summer and then
That's another good guy to know, by the way, Brooke. Not just Mike, but Cody is a good
Yeah.
guy to know.
Yeah, Cody is fantastic. And when I first got my license, Cody took a chance on me. He knew that I was brand new and he
Nice.
was like, you know what? We're going to give this a shot. We're going to give this a go. You're brand new. And that doesn't always happen. Like usually you have to, build expertise before somebody like Cody Berman would trust you
Sure.
with their business. But
Absolutely.
he trusted me from day one. And like even today, right now, we have one of his flips up on the market.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's been a very long-term relationship with Cody.
Yeah. But so he asked you about your automations and you said, I don't really have any.
Yeah, I said,
Nothing.
oh my God, guys, I don't really have any. Like everything that I have been doing has been, just me, myself, and I. And then I am
Nice.
pregnant. I am 7 months pregnant. I'm having my first baby boy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really need to start becoming more organized, have systems for absolutely everything. And you know what? Systems that other people can take and copy and start their own
Right.
journey, which led me into building my course and my book. So I'm just
Ah.
getting started with the systems and automations, but I can only imagine that it's going to 10x my business more from not having any really systems and automations to putting these in place and then being able to sell them out to the community of, how I became a multi-million-dollar realtor.
On that first property, that was it 212 or 220?
Oh, 212.
It was 212. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much work did you have to put in that, Brooke? Or do you get attracted to the fix-its or are they pretty much market ready when you buy them?
Well, that one woman, oh my, she's a sweetheart. At that time, she was probably like 75, had been on one side and was fine and just happy. And she's been there for years and wanted to keep it like that. Great Carmen. Carmen's still there. Life is great. On the other side, we did renovate fully that unit. We probably put 10 grand into that unit, which looking back now, I would not do because
Really?
yeah, I mean, I'm not a slumlord, but I wouldn't live in my apartments. I wouldn't. And people do live, apartments are needed everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a fresh coat of paint, a nice cleaning with my cleaning company. But instead of putting, 10, 15 grand into units every time they turn over, I'm like, we could just continue to get this rented. That's
Yeah.
what we've been doing. But I also do like the idea, and I know a lot of my clients, like as soon as they have turnover, they renovate that entire unit and then they're set for years to come. So there are so many different ways you could go about it.
But it may be that was only 3 years ago, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
first one. So that might still be coming down the road. I mean, when it reaches year 9, 10, whatever, you may
Right.
end up doing it then.
Yeah, and we fix things obviously as things come up. I mean, your boilers go, your hot water heaters go,
Yeah.
those type of things. But cosmetically speaking, we don't really tap into that
Yeah.
unless necessary. And we did, when I say we, it was my husband and I, we did one flip. And I remember it was right before we got married. We're like, well, this is great. Let's do a flip. Why not? With our own money too, which was crazy. And I recommend nobody doing it with their own money anymore. We did this one flip. We put all of our own money, all of our own time into it. I'm selling literally everything else. I could not sell our flip.
Oh my God.
Right before our wedding, all of our money is tied up. I remember like sitting at the kitchen table eating dinner and like we couldn't even have conversation because I'm like, we can't even afford this dinner that is in front of us right now because all of our money is in this flip that nobody wants. So we did go down the flipping route and putting money into buildings, and it was just a very stressful time. Did it work out? Yes. But a lot's on the line when you're putting your own money into things and hoping that the market is just going to take it and make you money.
Well, that is one of the big mistakes people make, going back to like not knowing their audience and over renovating for the neighborhood or over fixing up for the neighborhood. So yeah, you brought up a really good point of what people sometimes don't look at.
Right. And some things I've learned and I'll never touch again with a flip, like I'll never flip a condo.
Hmm.
So we flipped a condo. It was only a 2 bed, 1 bath. It was small. It was about 960 square feet. So people didn't like that. And people did not like the fact that there was no space for a washer dryer hookup.
Oh,
Yikes.
And so there was just these things that at the time I was like, oh, like we can do everything and anything. That's just my mindset. But we learned the hard way, like I'll never touch a condo again.
Mhm.
I will never touch something that doesn't have a basement space or a space to put a washer and dryer in. And then we couldn't even rent it because it was a condo and they had
Ugh.
rules that you can't rent it without owning it for over 2 years. So we didn't even have an
Oh,
exit
no.
strategy
Okay.
for that. So, you learn as you go, but I'd probably never touch one of those again.
Well, and that's the good news. You won't make that mistake again anymore. Like that is the good news.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
your properties are a combination of long-term rentals and the Airbnb short-term rental model. Which one do you like better?
They're very, very different.
Sure.
So long term is great when you get great tenants in there. And you text them on the 1st that their rent is due by the 5th. They pay. They only message you when things pop up, whole 9 yards. But the short term rentals, I love the Airbnb market. And it works out because, well, one, I help buy and sell the property. Two, we manage them. So we have money coming in from the management side. And three, my cleaning company cleans every
Nice.
single time in between each stay.
Ah,
So to say I don't love the Airbnbs would be crazy, but it's a lot more work, a lot more hands-on, a lot more, talking to guests on a regular basis. I guess that is automated.
oh,
I do have
good.
an
I
automated
was just
system.
going to ask. Please tell me that's automated.
That
Okay.
is automated
Yay.
because of my genius friend, Cody Berman. So, like, every time somebody books, they'll get like an automated message. They'll
Yay.
get messages before check-in, before check-out, whole 9 yards. But because I'm on my phone all the time anyway, it's my job and our Airbnb management team to be the one responding to,
Right.
guests on a regular basis for questions that it cannot be automated.
Got it. Well, now thanks to AI, some of them can. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and we do have like templates if somebody says like,
Right.
what's the closest restaurant? So
Mhm.
like I'll be able to click that and all of the restaurants will come up and send. So like those things,
Yeah.
those things are automated.
Yay.
But it's also a lot of hands-on and like when guests write feedback we've seen and we don't like to see, responses are very automated.
Got it.
And you can't please everybody every single time anyway.
Right,
So we always
right.
like to put a little bit of personality and personal touches in these messages too.
That makes a difference.
I love you saying that you wouldn't go near a condo again, no hookup for the washer and dryer. Like those are not cosmetic things. Those are big things. But when you're helping people put a house on the market though, Brooke, I bet you see people make mistakes all the time. Like what are some of the cosmetic things that we can do to make our property turn over more quickly? You see these numbers on staging and there's got to be some ways we can stage the house to make it more attractive.
You're totally right. And every listing appointment I go into, and again, every client, every house is different. I always tell my clients, my people, I will give you my best professional advice. Do you have to listen to me? No. And I would say the majority of the time people listen to my advice and do what I say, and then they get the top dollar. But then there are also times people don't. So, like big things, curb appeal.
Mhm.
99% curb appeal is so important. People driving by your house to see it, even the exterior pictures, like you want your yard manicured, you want a fresh thing of mulch down, you want a nice little flower pot outside. Less is more, but it needs to be super clean. Power wash, pay the additional $200 to have your house power washed. A whole 9 yards, clean up the junk outside. That would be for the exterior. The interior, deep cleanings. So with my team, what I also offer within my commissions is like my team will come in and totally deep clean the house for you. Because a lot of times, I mean, you walk into a lot of clients' house and they're already clean, but a lot of times they're not.
Yeah.
So to be able to offer that service to people, I really do think sets me apart from other realtors that they might be bringing into their house for, consultations. So cleaning, fresh coats of paint go a long way. Decluttering, depersonalizing, all of those things will just go miles and miles to make you more money. And they're not that expensive. I don't tell people, you need to redo your kitchen. No, you just need to clean it up. You need to take all of your stuff off your countertops, off your fridge, whole 9 yards, and boom, it's a different space, a different house.
And not have the walls red. Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of clutter I've seen as I go through houses just blows me away. I'm like, that just seems to be, Brooke, it just seems to be an easy win. And yet I see people miss that all the time. I'm like, really? You decided this was your best foot? Like, why the hell would I want to buy this house?
Oh, I have one deal that's coming on the market now. I won't give too many details, but it is 2 houses and a farm. Okay. 2 houses and a farm. And they've been there for a very, very long time and they have a ton of stuff. And they want top dollar, as does everybody, right? But they're having a very hard time with getting rid of their stuff because, it all has money value and whole nine. Like, you want me to sell your house for top dollar, you need to get rid of this stuff. Whether I can help you with that or not, like, I can't control you getting the dumpster and throwing it away. So actually, this past week, I brought one of my preferred vendors, D&D Junk Removal, out with me. And we're like, you know what? We'll donate all of this. It will go to flea markets, to churches, whole 9 yards, because I know the expectation is going to be for me to sell their house for top dollar. And I can't do that if there's just, paths to walk, room to room. But sometimes it's like you can lead a horse to water, but if they're not going to drink it, that is not on you.
Right. I remember going into a house one time and touring it, and there were just some signals crossed, and a half-naked woman, Crystal, walked out of the bedroom in the back. She just heard people and walked out, and she didn't realize that we were there. That was so awkward.
Yeah, see, but you know what? It's something that you'll never forget.
Never.
And speaking
we're like, does she come with the house?
Oh, gosh.
No,
Probably not.
I mean, it could depend.
Depends on your target audience, maybe. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yikes.
Exactly. But I mean, speaking about stories things that you won't ever forget, I had this one client who was amazing, and we did so many deals together of her purchasing properties that she was going to flip. And I'm like, I love you. Like, you're amazing, just because it was deal after deal after deal. But she was definitely getting a little bit ahead of herself, not necessarily maybe finishing one project before starting the next one.
Yeah.
Whole 9 yards. But I'm loving it because it's, closing after closing after closing. For Christmas, I sent her family, it was $5,000 to go out of the country to go visit her family outside of the country because she was such a great client, and like, you keep these people happy. But there was this one house that she was flipping that I could not sell. And it was due to price, definitely due to price. And we would get offers and, they'd be really good. No inspections.
Oh, yeah.
But more priced to where I have suggested to price it. But, you can provide everything with all the data, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, you work for the client. So if they don't agree with that, whole 9 yards. So the year mark was coming up. And when I tell you, I sell things in a weekend, let alone a year. Like, this house was giving me nightmares.
Sure.
So the year mark was coming up and we scheduled a call. I had a feeling that she was going to say I'm off the listing, but I've never been fired before. I've never not sold the house before. So, like, I'm anxious going into this meeting and knowing that that might be the conversation. Well, it was a conversation. And I was like, you know what? I've done everything in my power for you. Everything. Like, there's nothing else I can do at this price point for this house. Like, I might not be the one for you for this house. I understand that. So I was fired. Took it very, very hard because it was the first time I was ever fired. And then it was not even like 2 weeks later, I get a call from somebody else. And I answer the call, obviously, because I'm a realtor and I answer every single phone call. And it was the bank. This client had been foreclosed upon on every single property that she had.
Oh, no.
Which at the time was like 5+. And it was the bank. And I'm like, I have absolutely nothing to do with this. I'm just the realtor. I'm just her realtor. And they said, no, Brooke, we understand that, but we would like you to resell all of these properties for the correct price.
Oh, wow.
To avoid it, going further into foreclosure.
So you end up with all these properties back.
Twice.
I ended up with all of these properties back at a price point where things were actually going to sell.
Realistic.
So went 2 weeks ago, like super bummed, down on myself for a little bit for losing this listing, not being able to sell my first property, whole 9 yards, to the bank literally handing them to me on a silver platter at price points that are actually going to
Realistic.
sell.
That's funny that the bank stepped in and like, all right, she's delusional, Delulu. Let's fix this.
Right. Well, I mean, she stopped paying her
Right,
mortgages.
that
And of
too.
course, when
Yeah.
they stopped getting paid, the bank's like, nope, I'm taking over right
Yeah.
away.
Sure.
But it just goes to show you, like, when you think one door closes, that could actually even be for the better. And now I have this
Yeah, right.
relationship with the bank that they passed me. They send me their foreclosures, not just what were hers.
Wow.
So I'm like, you know what? That worked out. My massive headache turned into massive wealth. Crazy things happen.
How'd you build that relationship to get the bank?
Well, they literally just called me.
Just out of the blue.
They just out of the blue called me. They saw that I was the realtor on the
Of
properties
record
trying
before
to
that.
sell.
Yeah.
However, I took such good care of them, with the hand holding. The communication, they said, has been unbelievable, which I pride myself on, to then be able to give me more of their foreclosure listings.
Yeah, because that's a steady flow of business now and less marketing you need to do.
Correct. I mean,
Yeah.
and then just the marketing with the, the new listings and everything, that gets me more listings. But I've just gained their trust, and, it came from not a great situation to even a better situation.
Where do people mess up open houses? Because I'm thinking when you say you did everything, I mean, I'm sure you had open houses, you pulled out all the different stops and tricks, dogs, ponies, smoke mirrors, like everything you could do to get this house sold. What do people mess up when it comes to an open house?
So maybe not necessarily on this deal that I was talking about, but open houses can lead to so much business. I mean, at that time, you have to think that any person who walks into that door could be a client of yours. Whether it's for that actual house or not, that person who walks in the door is like, what? Is bait. It's bait, and you're the shark.
You're not thinking that property, you're thinking relationship.
Yeah, if it's not this house, guess what? I'm going to help you find another house.
Oh.
So I think making conversation with everybody who walks in the door is extremely important. Getting their information down as soon as they walk in the door is also important. So you have their information. But I go above and beyond for open houses depending upon price point. So I mean, I do a lot of, smaller houses, medium range houses, luxury houses too. And if it's after a certain price point, let's say like 500,000, I also bring in live music to my open houses too. So I have somebody singing. It's more like a party, and the neighbors see this whole 9 yards, and they're like, if she's going above and beyond for the neighbor and gets them top dollar, I'm going to save her information for when I'm ready to sell too. So I would say that's a big one. I would also say for open houses, I enjoy doing them by myself. I know a lot of people like other agents, maybe in their
team up,
brokerage and team there. However, that's like passing off business. I'll never forget. So I'm a mentor in the brokerage that I'm at, and I'm writing a book, whole 9 yards, to teach other agents. And like, I will tell them, do open houses for experienced agents. Like, let them have their weekends. Like, you do their open houses. They'll love it. But I had 2 agents come with me to an open house, which was fine. Like, everything's a learning experience too. But at the end of the day, like, I'm in charge of my business, my destiny as well. And it was for my seller. I had 2 other agents with me. Somebody walks in the door, cash buyer wants to put an offer in right then and there. So like, I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then you have these 2 other agents who are so hungry, new, excited, like looking at me, Brooke, what are we going to do here? And I'm like, all right, you 2, like literally rock, paper, scissor it. And one of you is going to get this cash buyer. But I'm like, if I was there myself, I would have just double-ended this deal. Granted, I know it's not all about me. It's a teaching, learning experience. And like, one of them ended up getting the cash deal, and I taught them all the way through it. But if I was there myself, that would have been a double-end deal, no brainer. Double commission, whole 9 yards. So, learning experience as a top agent, I prefer to do them by myself.
Makes sense.
Wow. I have one more question, which is that when you and I were first chatting about this amazing interview, we were talking about your social media a little bit and about how social media is a big part of your game. And man, looking at your Instagram, your Instagram is fantastic. But it's fantastic because it's these beautiful houses. It's you hustling.
Yeah.
And it's also personal. Like, tell me about kind of the magic for our deeders that are selling properties on effective social media, because you seem to know where the heartbeat is there.
Yeah, so my social media has grown exponentially, and I do owe part of that to Cody and his team. They are unbelievable marketing team who's given me the tips and pieces of everything that I need to do to increase my following. Like, I believe when I started with them, I was at, 5,000, and then everything just kept going. And I believe I'm at like 25,000 at the moment.
Yeah.
But somebody asked me a question and they said, Brooke, if you had to start over right now, what would be the first thing that you would do? And I said, build my social media presence. And I can tell you right now that I do not necessarily enjoy putting my face out there 5 times every single day. Like, sometimes it's cringy.
It drives me crazy. It just drives me nuts.
Yes, I'm like, people are sick of hearing my voice and seeing my face. Like, it's cringy. I don't necessarily love doing it. However, you have to put yourself out there because that keeps you top of mind for everybody. I'm like, are people literally listening to every single video I make? No, but they're remembering my face and putting it with real estate. So if and when they're ready to make their next purchase or their sale, I'm going to be top of mind. And I try to do a lot of like business stuff on there. I need to work a little bit more on the personal side too, but it's just being consistent with everything that you do.
So you use drones sometimes, it looked like, with one of yours. That was pretty cool.
Yes. So for all of my listings, I offer free photography, videography, and again, depending upon price point, drone footage.
Nice.
So we have all of that. And it's also great marketing for the properties that are on the market. So when I'm meeting with sellers, I tell them I have this wide social media presence that other agents might not have, which is just going to lead to more exposure of their properties.
Another sale point. Yeah, it's funny. One domino leads to 5 more, leads to 10 more, leads to 20 more. Brooke, if only there were somebody who was writing a book about all this goodness that you're talking about. I wish there was.
Yeah, and creating a course.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, that happens to be me.
Wow, that's so wild. Serendipity.
Yes, crazy. So Cody Berman, who's a great friend of mine, great businessman, he is so talented with like behind the scenes work. And he came to me about a year or so ago and he said, Brooke, would you like to be a guinea pig for my course? And I'm like, of course, Cody, I'll be a guinea pig for
Duh.
your Duh, of course. Why
Why
not?
not?
Like, so I've been working with him and his team for months at this point to build this course. I'd spend hours with them with interviews and they'd ask me questions and, dive deep into things. And from that also came a book. And in this book, it talks about my journey of how I started from, rock bottom to where I am today, a blueprint for other agents to do the exact same no matter where you are across the country. But it also focuses on so many things that could help agents set themselves apart from other agents because it's a dog eat dog world out there. And,
Yeah.
we're only eating when we close. So you can post on social media as much as you want, but if you don't have deals under contract closing, you're not making $1. And this book will teach you step by step of, how I close multiple deals in a week, how I close hundreds of deals a year. Every secret is in here. There's nothing spared.
It's called
She Closes Deals.
She Closes Deals. It's available where?
Well, it's probably going to be available once this goes live. It launches July 29th.
Oh, so we're going to have just a couple weeks until it comes out. You know what we'll do? We're going to link everybody to your Instagram account. And is there someplace else we should send them to?
It will be there all over my Instagram account once it goes live.
That's where, as I was going through it, I'm like, oh, we got to talk about the awesome book. That's great. Brooke, thank you so much for joining us and mentoring our Deeders today. I super, super appreciate it.
Yes. The pleasure is ours.
Yes. So thank you guys.
And tell our listeners your Instagram, where to find you.
Okay. My Instagram is Brooke E. Coughlin. That's probably the biggest social media platform. I'm also on TikTok, trying to get better on TikTok. Brooke Coughlin Realtor.
Big thanks to Brooke. And I hope, Crystal, that's going to help people cha-ching their own cash register.
Cha-ching. That's going to help me cha-ching. I'm thinking about what else I can do. But also...
Yeah, what is she talking about,
I know,
Doug?
Okay.
The woman who's got, not only do I
jobs.
work in the patent office, but I also am doing these quadplexes in the south side of Chicago, nowhere near my house. And I do Zumba, and I teach sewing, and I do golf. Boot camp, and I do... Yeah, I'm learning golf. Next,
got too much free time. Too much. Too much.
How do I start doing more?
Just learning. I like learning.
But sometimes it is fun to cha-ching your own cash register.
I do it
Exactly.
pretty often.
I want to chain
Oh
that
boy.
my own ring. Speaking of
Nope.
ring,
Yes.
no question this week, but if you would like us to answer a question for you, please head to stackingdeeds.net/voicemail and we can answer your call. Even if you want to say something for us to air within reason, we will play your question. We want to hear your voices and your feedback. So let's do that. And then for the show notes, again, head to stackingdeeds.net/show notes so you can get a beautiful bullet by bullet. Maybe I'll add some colors this week in the bullet points.
Sounds aggressive.
Or more.
It's a machine gun newsletter.
Pow, 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 pow.
Yeah, you don't know what you're missing. We do. I read all the emails. Someone said that he was tired of that pop-up. So I changed the settings on that sign up for our email list pop-up. So hopefully you should not see it the next time you head to stackingdeeds.net to catch up on the shows.
Stackingdeeds.net is where you go. And she is Condo Crystal at
Condo Crystal. That's what it was. The ats in front on the socials. Or just look up Crystal Hammond on Facebook.
Yes. And you will certainly find Crystal and say hello. And I'm Average Joe Money or the Stacking Benjamins podcast on Instagram. We end the show every way, the same way, every week, every way. We end it every way. Woo-hoo! We
have a way with
one way.
words. A way with words.
Yes. Everybody's
No.
like, oh, he's a super pro.
No, not that either.
So we end it this way. Doug, what are our takeaways from today's show?
Well, Joe, here's what you should learn based on what we heard today. First, take some advice from Brooke Coughlin. It's time to get moving. Start on your real estate journey now and make mistakes. You'll be happy you did. Second, your phone? Yeah, it's not just for watching cat videos anymore. Right, cat videos. But the big lesson, if you install a bed in a parking space and then list it on Airbnb, the profit margins are insane. Thanks to Brooke Coughlin for joining us today. You can find out more about her new book, She Closes Deals, wherever books are sold. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingdeeds.net. Apologies to the purveyors of the Yo-Yo Motel over on State Line Road. I've been assured they clean their rooms thoroughly every Easter Sunday.
Oh, God.
Easter Sunday.
Among other days.
That's the only day they're not getting used.
In theory.